Get ready for buying a home to become even more expensive. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, no matter what state you live in, you need to know what's been happening with the NAR litigation, the lawsuit settlement proposal. It's only a proposal at this point. Hi, my name is Nora Spangler and I work with Stellar Realty Northwest here in beautiful Bend, Oregon. Today we're going to be talking about the National Association of Realtors, NAR, proposal of a settlement that happened at the end of last week, and everyone's acting as though it's already a done deal. Both the courts and the Department of Justice have to review the proposal for the settlement and say that it's okay. So we're a little ways from that happening, but supposedly we are looking forward to these changes that I'm going to discuss. There's two major changes that you need to know about, whether you're buying or selling. There's two items that are big changes, and these should take effect in the summer, probably mid-July. So this proposed settlement from the NAR would be a payout of $418 million to the plaintiffs, and of course, probably half of that will go to their attorneys, and that would be paid out over 4 years. So in this lawsuit that was brought by, it's a class action lawsuit back in Missouri, and it was sellers claiming unfair practices, actually antitrust issues, basically claiming that NAR was price fixing commissions. And that's absolutely not true. The National Association of Realtors has never set commissions. Of course, historically speaking, if you look at what commissions have been paid, yes, they are generally in a certain range, but they are not fixed. In fact, if you are an NAR member, you are ethically bound to never discuss with other agents or other people what you charge and what your clients are paying you. It's not allowed, and we don't talk about it. So there is no set fee. There never has been. It has always been negotiable. If you've seen the headlines that say 6% commissions no longer, there's going to be no buyer agents ever anymore. Neither of those things are true. So before we talk more about commissions and structures and how things work, let's make sure you understand how things work today. So before the lawsuit and before all these changes, this is the way it worked. Basically, if you want to sell your home, you would hire a real estate agent, agree on a commission. You can negotiate with your real estate agent, or you could hire a flat fee service, or you could, for sale by owner, what we call FSBO, you could sell it yourself and try not to pay any commissions. Totally up to you as the consumer. You can do whatever you want. If you want to hire an agent, they have to be paid. We work really hard and we need to be paid. So it's up to you to decide how much you want to pay that agent. Here's the thing that you may not know is that the seller pays the full commission to their listing agent. The listing agent in the past would then talk with the seller and say, how much of this commission that you're paying me are you going to allow me to share with another agent, a buyer's agent, who brings a buyer to you ready, willing, and able with financing and the ability to purchase your home? We're going to share some of this commission with them. How much do you want to share? So they negotiate that as well, and then that number gets put into the MLS. And you could also see it on Zillow and other public websites as well. So you could look and see how much, if I were your buyer's agent, how much commission I was going to get paid through the seller. If you like my channel and find this information valuable, would you give this video a thumbs up and click that subscribe button? Now, just like everything else that you can shop for, you have choices when choosing your agent and how much they're going to get paid. Let's talk about haircuts. Okay, I desperately need a haircut and I am getting one tomorrow. Now, am I going to Supercuts? No, I'm not. Typically, those are people right out of beauty school. They don't have a lot of experience, and I don't trust them. I have some weird curly hair, and I need someone I can trust. Just like you need a real estate agent you have trust in. So I go to a gal who cuts my hair, and I'm satisfied with how she cuts it, and I'm willing to pay her and even tip her on top of that because she does a great job for me. It's a quality of service. Yes, it's a haircut, and I could get it at Great Clips or any other, lower budget place, but I choose to go somewhere that I'm confident I'm going to get what I am paying for. So that's the same with real estate agents. There's basically two changes that NAR proposed in this settlement. The first one is that we can no longer put into the MLS, which has been our practice, the portion of the listing agent's commission that the seller is willing to provide to a buyer's agent. So it's not that this commission sharing practice, which has benefited buyers greatly over the years, it's not as if it's just going away. That is not what the proposal says. All the proposal says is that we can no longer put in the MLS or require that there be any kind of cooperative commission sharing. So in other words, if you're selling a home, you can negotiate a lower commission with your listing agent. It can be a flat fee. You can negotiate anything you want if you can find an agent willing to work for you for that amount. That's all it is. It's completely wide open. It always has been, and it will remain that way. The second proposal is regarding buyer's agents and the fact that now we are going to be required to have our buyer clients sign a buyer broker agreement before we show homes, before we start working with a client in earnest. And this is a little tricky for me because a lot of you find me on YouTube and you call me and we talk and I send you listings and we sort of work together before we ever meet in person here in Bend. I will have all my clients from now on sign a buyer broker agreement, and what's in the agreement is what I'm going to do for you, for one thing, and how you, the buyer, are going to pay me, the agent who is working hard on your behalf. So no longer is it going to be invisible. We are going to have to talk about it and agree upon it before we go out searching for homes. I think what it does, it creates a strong trust relationship between me and my client. They know up front what they're in for with me, and I know what the expectation is for my service level. If you don't like my fee, then you can certainly find another agent and ask them, what is your buyer agent fee? But it's kind of like the Supercuts Great Clips thing. You get what you pay for. So I love giving top-notch, excellent, full service, to my clients. I'm not a discount kind of person. I don't want to give you half when I can give you everything and provide an amazing home purchase or home selling experience for you. Just read my reviews online. See what people say. And that's the kind of service that I'm always going to offer. So who won and who lost in this NAR settlement if the proposal goes through? Sellers are the ones who started it, and they were complaining that they were having to pay too high of a fee, and they didn't want to pay the other agent who was sort of negotiating against them. But I think they forgot to think about that agent also brought the buyer to the deal. The sellers are celebrating right now that they only will have to pay half of the previous commission, and there are headlines and news stories all over the place talking about how billions of dollars are going to be saved. The industry is going to shrink and realtors are going to quit and all kinds of stuff. Well, we will have to wait and see what happens because this thing is not settled yet and the proposal hasn't even been accepted by the court. So we'll see what happens. So the sad part of this whole thing for buyers, especially first-time buyers, is that you've been saving, you've got your down payment, you've got your little pile of money, maybe you can cover some of your closing costs, but maybe you were thinking you're going to ask the seller to pay the maximum they're allowed to pay. And that's something, if you don't understand that, lenders have limits and sellers can only offer buyers a certain amount of money to pay for closing costs or their realtor fees, if that's what they choose to use it for. There's a limit. It depends on the kind of loan you have, and the amount of your down payment. If the buyer needs all that money to cover standard closing costs, escrow fees, title fees, loan fees, then they're not going to have any left to pay their buyer's agent. So it's going to be an additional amount they have to save. They have to come up with that money somewhere if the seller is not willing to offer it. So this sadly could make buying a home even more unaffordable for those who are already stretched and praying for interest rates to drop and praying for home prices to drop. It makes me sad. It really makes me sad for the buyers who are cash strapped and who this will really present a challenge. Okay, before you get too discouraged, there is a light at the end of that tunnel, a little bit, a possibility. There's nothing in the new rules that say that a seller cannot offer to pay the buyer's agent commission. They can still pay it if they want to. We just can't put it in the MLS. So it just means we have to ask and negotiate that. Also, what that means in our current market, which is low inventory and very competitive for the most part, properties are still selling really quickly. The desirable ones are. If you get your eye on that property and you really want it, and your offer includes, I need the seller to give me, $10,000 in concessions so that I can pay my realtor, your offer may not be as competitive as someone else's, and you may not get that home. Another reason to hire the best agent possible who will negotiate for you, who will make the phone calls, who will work the hours, who will be available for you when you need them right at that moment. You need to see the house and write the offer quick. Find someone who's going to work really hard for you as your buyer's agent, because you probably are going to end up paying them, maybe out of your own pocket, at least some. Maybe you can do a 50-50 split on your buyer's agent fee with the seller. They might pay some of it, but going to be a lot more behind the scenes negotiating to get the buyer's agent fee covered for our buyers. Elephant in the room that I haven't really heard other agents talking about is that agents who are typically listing agents, they really do not want to be a buyer's agent. They don't want to run around at 6 and 7 o'clock at night showing you homes at the last minute. They don't want their dinner or their family time interrupted. They like listing homes because there's less interaction with a larger amount of human beings. They just have a seller and they list the home, and then they just pick up their phone when buyer's agents call them and ask them questions. They just have to be within reach of a phone call. They don't have to run around town showing a lot of properties. So it could be challenging to get them to represent you as the buyer and the seller's representation. It's just, who knows if they'll be willing to do it. If you ever receive an email from me, you will notice that my signature says, "Your Realtor for Life." And that's how I look at my clients. I want to be your realtor for the rest of your life. As long as I am a realtor, I would love for you to be so confident and have such a great experience with me that you are going to send your friends, your families, everyone you talk to, you're going to send them to me because I served you so well. You want them to have that same experience. So yeah, I'm not going to be a discount broker. I'm a high service, all in, full-time realtor. And I hope you give me a call. I'd love to chat with you and see if you and I could work together.